Welcome to Read the EO, where we report on the executive orders signed by the President. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Presidential actions. Declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States. January 20th, 2025. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, I hereby proclaim America's sovereignty is under attack. Our southern border is overrun by cartels, criminal gangs, known terrorists, human traffickers, smugglers, unvetted military-age males from foreign adversaries, and illicit narcotics that harm Americans, including America. This invasion has caused widespread chaos and suffering in our country over the last 4 years. It has led to the horrific and inexcusable murders of many innocent American citizens, including women and children, at the hands of illegal aliens. Foreign criminal gangs and cartels have begun seizing control of parts of cities, attacking our most vulnerable citizens, and terrorizing Americans beyond the control of local law enforcement. Cartels control vast territories just south of our southern border, effectively controlling who can and cannot travel to the United States from Mexico. Hundreds of thousands of Americans have tragically died from drug overdoses because of the illicit narcotics that have flowed across the southern border. This assault on the American people and the integrity of America's sovereign borders represents a grave threat to our nation. Because of the gravity and emergency of this present danger and imminent threat, it is necessary for the armed forces to take all appropriate action to assist the Department of Homeland Security in obtaining full operational control of the southern border, to protect the security and safety of United States citizens, to protect each of the states against invasion, and to uphold my duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. It is my responsibility as President to ensure that the illegal entries of aliens into the United States via the southern border be immediately and entirely stopped. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no more solemn duty than to protect the American people. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, by the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including Sections 201 and 301 of the National Emergencies Act, 50 U.S.C. 1601 et TCQ, hereby declare that a national emergency exists at the southern border of the United States, and that Section 12,302 of Title 10 United States Code is invoked and made available according to its terms to the secretaries of the military departments concerned, subject to the direction of the Secretary of Defense. To provide additional authority to the Department of Defense to support the federal government's response to the emergency at the southern border, I hereby declare that this emergency requires use of the armed forces and, in accordance with Section 301 of the National Emergencies Act, 50 U.S.C. 1631, that the construction authority provided in Section 2808 of Title 10 United States Code is invoked and made available according to its terms to the Secretary of Defense, and at the discretion of the Secretary of Defense, to the Secretaries of the military departments. I hereby direct as follows. Section 1. Deployment of personnel and resources. The Secretary of Defense, or the Secretary of each relevant military department, as appropriate and consistent with applicable law, shall order as many units or members of the armed forces, including the Ready Reserve and the National Guard, as the Secretary of Defense determines to be appropriate to support the activities of the Secretary of Homeland Security in obtaining complete operational control of the southern border of the United States. The Secretary of Defense shall further take all appropriate action to facilitate the operational needs of the Secretary of Homeland Security along the southern border, including through the provision of appropriate detention space, transportation, including aircraft, and other logistic services in support of civilian-controlled law enforcement operations. Section 2. Additional physical barriers. The Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security shall immediately take all appropriate action consistent with law, including 10 U.S.C. 2214, to construct additional physical barriers along the southern border. To the extent possible, the Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security shall coordinate with any governor of a state that is willing to assist with the deployment of any physical infrastructure to improve operational security at the southern border. Section 3. Unmanned aerial systems. The Secretary of Transportation and the Federal Communications Commission shall, consistent with applicable law, consider waiving all applicable Federal Aviation Administration and Federal Communications Commission regulations or policies, respectively, that restrict the Department of Homeland Security's ability to counter unmanned aerial systems within 5 miles of the southern border. Section 4th Revision of Policies and Strategies. The Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security, in consultation with the Attorney General, shall take all appropriate action, consistent with law, to prioritize the impedance and denial of the unauthorized physical entry of aliens across the southern border of the United States, and to ensure that use of force policies prioritize the safety and security of Department of Homeland Security personnel and of members of the armed forces. Section 5th Revocation. Proclamation 10,142 of January 20th, 2021. Termination of emergency. With respect to the southern border of the United States and redirection of funds diverted to border wall construction is hereby revoked. Section 6th Reporting Requirement. A. Within 30 days of the date of this proclamation, the Secretary of Defense shall submit to the President, through the Homeland Security Advisor, a report outlining all actions taken to fulfill the requirements and objectives of this proclamation. And B. Within 90 days of the date of this proclamation, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall submit a joint report to the President about the conditions at the southern border of the United States and any recommendations regarding additional actions that may be necessary to obtain complete operational control of the southern border, including whether to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. Section 7. General Provisions. A. Nothing in this proclamation shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect. I. The authority granted by law to an executive department or agency, or the head thereof. Or the functions of the Director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. B. This proclamation shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. C. This proclamation is not intended to, and does not, create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies or entities, its officers, employees or agents, or any other person. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 20th day of January, in the year of our Lord, 2025, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 249th.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.